When working with materials creating dust, what should be monitored? The smell the dust creates, the level of exposure to the dust, the direction in which the dust travels, the color of dust created. What should you do if you run out of the water you are using to control dust? Ask everyone to clear the area and then carry on. Put on additional respiratory protection. Carry on, but get someone to sweep up afterwards. Stop and refill the water.
You need to use an air-powered tool. What 3 hazards are likely to affect you? Airborne dust and flying fragments. An electric shock. Being struck by a poorly secured hose. Hand-arm vibration. Radiation.
Match the signs below with their correct categories.
What are the signs and symptoms of noise-related hearing damage? Nausea and a skin rash around your ears. There are no signs or symptoms associated with hearing damage. Difficulty following a conversation, especially against background noise. Ear infections and regular headaches.
Does your employer have to provide a first aid kit? No, there is no legal duty to provide one. Only if more than 25 people work on site. Yes, every site must have one. Only if more than 50 people work on site. Which 2 topics should be covered in a site induction? Local amenities. Local transportation links. Site emergency procedures. Holiday entitlement. Site rules.
When selecting suitable personal protective equipment, PPE, for the user, which factors should be considered? Fit and weight. Price and size. Cost and colour. Size and fit. Which two of the following are the employer's legal duties towards people at work? Provide them with free transport home. Inform you of hazards and risks at work. Supply meals free of charge. Pay wages and overtime directly into the bank. Provide and maintain clean welfare facilities. What is the best way to make sure that a ladder is secure and will not slip? Ask someone to stand with their foot on the bottom rung. Secure it at the top. Wedge the bottom of the ladder with blocks of wood. Secure it at the bottom.
Which of the following is bad practice? Storing materials safely. Mixing all waste in one skip. Refueling carefully to avoid spills. Switching off plant and equipment when it is not in use.
When do you need to check tools and equipment for damage? Once a week. Each time before use. At least once a year. Every day.
If your doctor says that you contracted Weil's disease, leptospirosis, on site, why do you need to tell your employer? Your employer has to warn your colleagues not to go near you. The site on which you contracted it will have to be closed down. It must be reported to the Health and Safety Executive, HSE. Your employer will need to call pest control to remove rats on site.
What should you do if your disposable foam earplugs keep falling out? Throw them away and work without them. Put rolled up tissue paper in each ear instead. Stop work until you are shown how to fit them properly. Put 2 earplugs in each ear so that they stay in place. What type of pollution would you associate with handheld power tools? Light, smoke, noise, water. The ground has become muddy on site. What could be done to prevent the ground becoming slippery? Improve lighting. Improve signage. Treat the surface with gravel. Treat the surface with salt.
In which one of the following situations is it safer for a worker to speak to someone operating mobile plant? The worker is wearing PPE and the plant is moving slowly. The worker is wearing high-vis and the plant is moving slowly. The operator can hear the worker and it is daytime. The operator knows the worker is there and the plant has stopped operating.
A mobile access tower must not be used on what surface? A smooth concrete path. A paved patio. Soft or uneven ground. An asphalt road. What condition can be caused by direct sunlight on bare skin? Acne, rickets, dermatitis, skin cancer.
A material that may hide fragile surfaces has been applied to a roof. What action should be taken? Nothing. Workers should know to be careful. Nothing. The material applied should be fine. The fragile areas should be painted green. The fragile areas should be clearly marked and protected.
Which two of the following items should be recorded in the accident book? Injuries sustained. Date of the accident. Telephone number. Location of the hospital. National insurance number.
Identify which of the following signs is associated with a substance being toxic if swallowed or inhaled.
Using a grinder whilst wearing this personal protective equipment, PPE, could result in which of the following? Lung disease, Weil's disease, eye injuries, hearing damage.
When workers use respiratory protective equipment, RPE, they should have a face fit test. Why is this? To ensure the mask looks right. To ensure the mask fits and functions correctly. To ensure the selected mask is the correct colour. To make sure that the mask fits the budget.
Fatigue may be a result of what? Working long hours, good sleeping patterns, a healthy diet, good work-life balance. Which of the following is true of clearing waste to maintain a tidy site? Clearing waste should be carried out at the end of a shift. Construction sites are dirty anyway and do not need clearing. Construction workers are not responsible for clearing waste. Clearing waste should be a continuous process. Under environmental law, which of the following statements is true? Only directors can be prosecuted if they do not follow the law. Only companies can be prosecuted if they do not follow the law. Only employees can be prosecuted if they do not follow the law. Companies and employees can be prosecuted if they do not follow the law.
When is the best time to conduct face-fit testing for respiratory protective equipment, RPE? As part of the initial selection of RPE. After the RPE has been worn and used. In the morning before workers become sweaty. At the beginning of each new year. What should employers check regularly if you are working with hazardous substances? Your health, your mood, your wages, your family.
Loss of appetite, fatigue and tearfulness are common symptoms of what? Hand-arm vibration syndrome, skin problems such as dermatitis, mental health issues or stress, repetitive strain injury and back pain.
What are 2 risks of carrying a load in cold, damp conditions? The route you take could be slippery. You will need to work more quickly to warm up. Your ability to carry the load safely will be reduced. The load will feel lighter due to the cold conditions. The load will be easier to carry.
Someone has fallen from height and has no feeling in their legs. What should you do? Keep them still until medical help arrives. Raise their legs to see if any feeling comes back. Keep their legs straight and roll them onto their back. Roll them onto their side and bend their legs.
What 2 things should you do to reduce trips and injuries caused by untidy leads and extension cables? Run cables and leads above head height and over the top of doorways and walkways. Only use thinner 230-volt extension cables. Make sure your cables have not been used before. Keep trailing cables and leads close to the wall. Tie any excess cables and leads up into the smallest coil possible.
If a sink on site is blocked and the water supply has failed, what should you do? Find a plunger. Buy water from the vending machines. Get used to the situation. Speak to a supervisor. So that workers can work at height safely, who is responsible for making sure they receive information and instruction? The workers themselves, the appointed first aider, the employer, the Health and Safety Executive, HSE.
How should contaminated respiratory protective equipment, RPE, be considered when being disposed of? As hazardous waste, as compostable wastes, as normal waste products, as recyclable materials.
What piece of personal protective equipment, PPE, should be worn on sites where there is a risk of falling objects? A safety harness, high-vis clothing, protective goggles, hard hat. Identify one of the most common causes of death and injury on a construction site. Getting electrocuted by power tools. Getting asthma from fumes. Being struck by mobile plant. Sunburn from being outside. What must be checked before working in a corridor that is a fire escape route? If the doors into the corridor are locked, that fire escape signs are removed before the work starts, if the tools being used are spark-proof, that any tools and equipment do not block the route. Fire emergency or precaution is not associated with which of the following signs? What should you do if you need to refuel a petrol-driven saw but the container is missing its nozzle? Find the correct dispensing nozzle. Pour as quickly as possible. Try to make a dispensing nozzle yourself. Pour the petrol and wipe up any spillages.
Why is it important to report near-miss incidents on site? To find someone to blame so claims can be made. It is the law to report all near-miss incidents. It is a requirement of the CDM regulations. To learn from them and stop them happening again.
Identify the difference between a fall arrest lanyard and a work restraint lanyard. A work restraint lanyard is for outdoor use. A fall arrest lanyard is for indoor use. A work restraint lanyard prevents falls. A fall arrest lanyard minimizes the consequences of a fall. A work restraint lanyard is designed for confined spaces. A fall arrest lanyard is designed for MEWPs. A work restraint lanyard halts work entirely. A fall arrest lanyard ensures falls do not occur. When moving plant or machinery around site, what should the operator look out for? Only driving with limited fuel. Speed signs and speed humps. Driving with the lights on during the day. Driving with the handbrake on. Which of the following is the best method to help minimize the risk of injury when moving loads on site? Make the area flatter before performing the task. Remove all awkward-shaped loads from the site. Use lifting aids wherever possible on site. Ask a trained person to carry the load.
What should you do if you are in a deep trench and you start to feel dizzy? Sit down in the trench and take a rest. Make sure that you and any others get out quickly and report it. Carry on working and hope that the feeling will go away. Get out, let your head clear, and then go back in again.
What is the main cause of people dying while working in a confined space? Cold conditions leading to hypothermia. Presence of methane. Lack of oxygen. Too much oxygen. What is the most important information a vehicle marshaller should know before directing a vehicle? How to signal vehicles and any relevant safety procedures. The value of the materials as they could be stolen. The type of materials being delivered to the site. The name and address of the driver for security reasons. Skin burns are most likely to occur when a worker works with which of the following? Glass products, emulsion paint, wet cement, dry wood.
What should you do if the safety rules given in your site induction seem out of date as work progresses? Speak to your workmates to see if they have any new rules. Speak to your supervisor about your concerns. Make up your own safety rules to suit the changing conditions. Nothing, as safety is the site manager's responsibility.